Hello everyone, happy Tuesday and happy Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And I want to tell you again, happy Advent. We started yesterday with a series. This is going to be a series of 5 this week, and I'm calling it an Advent Challenge because what we're doing this week is we are learning how we can get ready actively in order to be ready when Jesus comes. So, yesterday we talked about getting your house in order. So this is one way that we can start to get ready, right? And when we say house, we were talking about our physical space, our head space, and our heart space. So that was yesterday's video. If you missed it, I encourage you to go back and check it out. It will be very helpful for you. Today, we are going to talk about another way to get ready, and that is pray. I know it seems like an obvious thing, right? But as I was thinking about this, I thought, okay, what is the actual definition of prayer? Because we can have lots of different ways to think about prayer. There are lots of ways to go about it. But the actual definition, if you look it up, I actually found an old Middle English definition, and it means to ask earnestly. So that makes sense, right? When we pray, we are asking. And, you know, in Middle English, they would use the word pray just in regular conversation. But nowadays, when we use it, we are usually talking about talking to God. And, you know, one of the best definitions of prayer is just to have a conversation with God. And the cool thing is that does not have to be with words, because God knows our hearts, right? So He knows our thoughts, He knows our hearts, He knows more about us than we know about ourselves. So prayer can even be sitting in silence with God. So that all said, as I said, today is the Feast of Our Lady of Guadalupe. And of course, one way that we can pray, one way that is highly recommended because of so many different benefits to it, is to pray the rosary. Now, sometimes this is a prayer that is misunderstood, especially by those outside of the Catholic faith. But the rosary actually is a method of meditation that helps us meditate on the life of Jesus and Mary. And the entire thing highlights how Mary always points us to Jesus. Now, that's all I'm going to say about the rosary for right now. Maybe I'll do another video at a later time where we can dig into the rosary a little bit more. Put in the comments rosary if you would like to hear a video more about praying the rosary itself. But for today, as you can see, I'm in my car because I am squeezing in all the things today as we are preparing for Christmas, and this is Advent. And I have a meeting to go to in a few minutes, but I wanted to make sure that I kept my commitment to you. And so that's why I'm in my car today. So as I was thinking about this topic for today, I thought acronyms are very helpful. And I think I forgot to look up if there is an acronym for pray already. I think that there might be. But I'm going to tell you something that I came up with. Okay. So P is for praise. So this is a great place to start when we begin our prayer. We know this from the Our Father, right? In the Our Father, it starts out addressing our Father and acknowledging who He is and praising Him for that. Praising Him that He is our Father. And the R in pray is for request. So after we have offered praise to God, then we can offer our request. So this is, again, going back to that Middle English meaning to ask earnestly. Then the A in pray is for acknowledge his providence. This is where we get to actually believe that God can provide not always what we want, but always what we need. Let me say that again. God doesn't always provide what we want, but he always provides what we need. And it takes practice to trust in his providence. So at this stage in prayer, we can acknowledge his providence. One way to do this, if we talk really practically here for a moment, one way to do this is, yesterday, one of the things that we mentioned was doing an examination of conscience at night. When we do an examination of conscience, we look back on our day and we look at the places where God's grace was present. Where are the places that he showed up for me today? Where are the places I saw him at work today? And I always encourage people, always and everywhere, to write these things down. If you're doing an examination of conscience, write it down. Because now when you come to prayer and you're looking for how you can acknowledge his providence, you have this list of evidence that God does show up in your life every single day in many, many ways. So that is, it's brain science actually. You're showing your brain all of the evidence. And guess what that does for your belief? Your belief in his providence and your belief that you can trust him. You can trust him. So that is the A in pray. Acknowledge his providence. And then we get to the Y. Here I say Y is for yes. Okay, now I believe that God's going to show up for me. He's going to provide what I need in this moment, in this day, in this season, whatever it is that I'm asking for, he's going to provide it according to his will. So that's great, because I want my will to be united with his will. Because guess what? Sometimes I think I want something that's not really so great for me. And so that's not helpful. But God is such a good God. He's such a good God that he's going to give us, again, like I said, not what we ask for necessarily, but he gives us what we need. So that why, yes, I can confidently, now that I acknowledge his providence, I can say yes to whatever it is that he is asking of me. And in between there, if I had an extra letter, I would have said stop and listen. Because those are the moments when, after you're acknowledging his providence, you've made your request, you acknowledge his providence, and then he can tell you what's next. And then you have the opportunity to respond to that grace and say yes. Now, yes, without action behind it, is just lip service. It's like, oh, I intended to do that, but I'm not going to actually put the action into the doing. So when we say that yes, when we give our fiat, we get to back it up with action. So when we pause to pray during this Advent season, always always figure out, what is my next action? How can I act on the graces that I have received through this prayer time, through this time with the Lord? What are the actions that I can take next? And then go and do them. And remember that if you feel like you're not equipped for it, sometimes that question of being equipped for what we feel that we're called to do, I can promise you that you will always be equipped to do God's will. And the reason why is He has given you specific talents and gifts when He created you. And He asks you to grow those talents and gifts and cultivate them and share them with others. And then when He's asking you to do something, He will always provide the grace for you to do it. Now, if you look at something that is something really huge and you think, I am not prepared for that right now, it's possible that that's true, because sometimes the grace will show up in the moment when you need it. Exactly in that moment. So guess what you get to do up until then? You get to trust. So, as I said, during this Advent season, pause to pray. And this pause is an active pause. This is, you are using your will to choose to pause, because boy, let me tell you, you've got all the storms going on around you during this Advent season, don't you? There is getting ready for Christmas. There is getting ready for the guests. There is about 1,000 things on your to-do list. I know, me too. Me too. Especially this week. And so for you to intentionally pause and spend that time with the Lord to pray, that is an act of your will. And it's a beautiful gift to God, and it's a gift to yourself. Because then you're going to be more equipped to go on from that moment and actually handle all of the things that you get to handle that day, or even in that moment. So that is what I've got for you today. And tomorrow I will be back with another way that we can get ready so that we can be ready. Actively get ready so that just in our being, we are ready for the Lord to come at any time. Anytime, day or night. We do not know the day or the hour, do we? So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. And I think you're going to like tomorrow's topic. So join me again tomorrow, and I will talk to you soon. Don't forget, I wish all of you God's blessings on you and all those that you love. Have a great day. Bye.